Today, we are joined by Tim Allen, one of the most respected names in California luxury real estate.
I've never told somebody what their house is worth because it's worth different amounts to different people. And it's not worth just what the market will bear. You need to add value as an agent.
What role does storytelling and high quality creative play in marketing luxury listings today?
You're really selling lifestyle. On the high-end buyers, they don't buy from need, they buy on want. So the marketing and the engaging content is critical for that because you're telling stories.
What technology or trend do you think will most transform the agent business in the next 5 years?
No matter what happens, you need to look and you need to be able to understand how these technologies work. You need to be able to embrace them and take risks with them without diluting what you do. If you don't risk it, you never have a chance. It's lacrosse. If you don't take that shot or make the right pass, if you're not on the field when it counts, you need to push the envelope.
Tim, welcome to the Luxury Presence Podcast.
Well, thanks. Happy to be here. Having some fun on an early, sort of overcast morning in Carmel, but just gorgeous. I start my morning every day on Carmel Beach with my best friend, Brick, a dog that thinks he's a human, and run the thick sand in a dune or two, and happen to be in a house right on the beach here that we just bought last week, and it's very special. So I set up my office before we rent it out, and it's kind of fun.
Amazing. Yeah, that beach is so incredible. I visited for the first time a few months back and fell in love with it. I mean, such an incredible space and area that your market is in. I mean, you were born and raised there, right? And you've spent pretty much your entire life building relationships and expertise in that market. How did growing up in Carmel shape your understanding of community and influence the way you approach real estate today?
In a big way, really. A lot of things shaped that. But, it was when I grew up, I mean, I hate to say it was born in 7/11/60, although I'm changing that to 7/11/80. A little tricky when you're trying to get your prescriptions, but aside from that, I'm changing it. It was really a small town atmosphere. I grew up in Pebble Beach. My parents bought an old barn. They converted to a house. They also bought this very cool hotel, La Playa Hotel. It's the largest hotel in Carmel, 76 rooms. Carmel's small. And, I started working there when I was probably 10 or 11. I never got an allowance, but I always had a job. And I started in the laundry room down there with, it was so interesting. It was this eclectic mix of people and races and whatnot. And, Fuji was the Korean, head of housekeeping. And then, Bobby was the African American from Seaside, really buff. And then we had the Germans and we had the Filipinos and the Hispanics. And, it was so cool to grow up with that. It was almost like a family, right? We were a team working together to enhance the guest experience. And it was so interesting to start at the bottom. Literally, I was in the bowels of the hotel, right? And I'd go to pick up the laundry. It was underneath the chute. And then the guys above would try and bomb me with the dirty sheets. But it was a great time. I mean, I reflect on that mixture of people we had, and, we were colorblind but it was very special. And where I see us now and the team that we have, I've surrounded myself with amazing people, and I grew up with amazing parents that gave me these opportunities. They didn't give me a silver spoon, but they just gave me opportunities to work and whatnot, to go to school. And I learned so many life lessons from working there, and then further growing up, going to college and playing lacrosse with this team where, you win together and you lose together, and you're all working for towards a common goal. And so it was lovely. I left the area for about only like 6 or 7 years. I was a 6-year college guy, and then came back and had a degree in business economics, and thought, what am I going to do? What business should I start? And I was looking at honey baked hams because there was a meat packing, very small place in Watsonville. But one of my good friends' father was a prominent real estate agent. So I thought, let's give this a go. And I'd taken certain classes at UC Santa Barbara that were prerequisites. So I really just had to take the test. And I had went in to take this test, and there's 100 people or so there, all different age groups, right? And I'm fresh out of college. I just ripped it. I mean, I killed that test. I was out of there in like half an hour. Everyone's looking at me, but I was used to taking finals. So, but then you're armed and dangerous with a real estate license, and people are putting in your hands maybe the biggest financial decision they may make, or consequences. So I really, I had a license, but I wasn't frankly qualified until I really learned and dug in deep. And that was quite a while ago.
Yeah, it was. But you've stuck with it, and look at you now. Pretty impressive business that you've grown. I'd love to talk about some of your philosophy, which you have a lot of. Some things you call Timisms.
Oh, okay.
And I think one that stuck out to me when we initially met was being a pie maker, someone who focuses on growing opportunities rather than kind of competing for a limited slice, right? Can you unpack that philosophy, kind of what that means in practice and how it's helped you build long-term relationships in such a competitive market?
Absolutely. So these philosophies aren't just business philosophies. It's philosophies on life. And these are things that have grown organically that I've learned, through my entire life. My parents were amazing people. They were good people. They did good work. They shared, they were generous, they were kind, they worked hard. When I touched on working in the laundry room there, I mean, you're all working together. And, when you work together with people, you can grow the pie. I think differently than most people. I'm sure I'm on the spectrum somewhere. I mean, really, I think outside the box, but I don't say, oh, I'm going to think outside the box. It's just how I operate. And I see things differently. I see bigger picture things and dynamics and movements. But maybe it's because I miss smaller things, and not maybe, I mean, I know I do. And that's why when growing the pie, it's like playing with a team. I remember looking at the Warriors a couple years ago, and we had good players, but we didn't have all the all-stars, but it was Steve Kerr and the ownership and Joe Lacob and Steph Curry, and then everyone buying in to the teamwork. And it's funny. I have a huge ego. I mean, I know I do. But I've said this before, but I'm a humble man. I mean, I am. I mean, cause I know that I couldn't accomplish anything or anywhere near what I've accomplished without great people and without being part of a team. And that's growing the pie. And it's, it applies to real estate. It applies to politics. It applies to all this. And, I don't want to get into the politics of today, but they're so divisive. I mean, again, when I grew up, it was one big melting pot and it was great. And now it's like people are trying to separate you and they're fighting. And even in the real estate business, I see this, bringing it down to the micro picture in real estate. Agents don't get it. Most agents I deal with just don't get it. They look and they say, oh gosh, Tim got that deal. That's one less deal for us, or, this or that. Well, we sold a house, it was a big deal, $16.5 million. And we had engaging content that's one of the things that we have and I provide, and I've grown this team, and my business is not just the brokerage. That's just one part of it. But that content we targeted, and we got a hit from a buyer. I picked up that phone and we sold them the family, this house. It was a private equity guy. But the rest of the story is that buyer wasn't even looking in Monterey County. They were in Santa Barbara. We expanded the market. We grew the pie. That deal wasn't there. We created that deal. Sadly, young family got divorced a couple of years later. Well, they sold that house. And it's too bad. But that's two more $16, $17 million transactions that would have never happened if you didn't grow the pie. So that deal that I got didn't take away anything from anyone else. It grew the pie for other people. And, that applies to so many things. And, we can all, I think debate and discussion and arguments are good. But then, you agree to stuff. That's what negotiation is all about, still within a deal. Some people, attorneys say you can't be a dual agent. Oh, there's a conflict of interest. Well, there isn't. You have a fiduciary to each party, and there's a Chinese wall in the middle. I've done it hundreds of times, and you can add value. We've had deals where there's been multiple offers, and our client we represented the buyer and the seller. Our client got that house. Now, it wasn't because we whispered to him anything. We handled it properly. That client paid significantly more than the next highest offer. They didn't know what that was. They still don't know what it was today. But that purchase for them, it was worth more to them because these properties don't have set values, the ones we sell anyway. So growing the pie is huge. And I do consider myself a pie maker. And I do love pizza with cauliflower crust, extra cheese, maybe some pepperoni and Kalamata olives.
Love it. Another one of your Timisms, coopetition. Tell me
Oh, yeah.
what coopetition is and how do you put that into action?
Well, I mean, that's akin to with growing the pie. I mean, we're in a really unique business here. Many businesses, not all of them, but many businesses, it's either crush the competition and move forward. And a lot of people look at it that way. With real estate, we compete. I mean, bottom line, one of the reasons that I work harder really than anyone I know, except for the OBGYNs. I do turn my phone off when I get my workouts in the afternoon. I need that. I don't generally work at night. I have my team that helps unless there's some type of need for that. But, you're going to be, and the competition is important to me. I work harder than anyone I know, but I don't work at all. I mean, I just love what I do. So that's important to me. And in this, part of the reason I love it is because I still get to compete. Part of the team, I mentioned I played lacrosse at UC Santa Barbara on a team. I love the competition. I'm highly competitive, and you compete to get a listing or you compete for a buyer. But once, say, someone else gets that listing, then you should be appreciative for the opportunity. You should be appreciative that some other agent got that opportunity, but then you have a chance to bring a buyer in. You don't want to burn any bridges. So in our business, you compete, but then cooperation is a huge part of that. So the relationships that you build are so important between you and everyone around you, including the buyer pool, the seller pool, but also the agents and all the vendors you work with. And you have to treat everybody with kindness and respect, honesty, and fairness.
Absolutely. Why do you think so many agents struggle to embrace that kind of philosophy?
It's hard for me to comment on other people because you're not in their heads, but
Of course.
it's brutal. Okay. So what we do is hard and the competition is intense. And I've been very, very fortunate to be very successful for a very long time, but it is intense. I mean, every day, the thoughts and the time and the effort that I put into this is immense, more than anyone I know. But again, I love it because this is what I do. And there are people that are struggling to put food on the table in our industry. I mean, it's hard. And so you get this mindset of that. And then there are people that just have that mindset. They're not pie makers. They don't get that bigger picture. But again, when it comes to the competition part, I'm heavy into that. I mean, I go for it in a fair way. I play by the rules, but I don't hold back.
Absolutely. Love that. Another one of my favorite Timisms, real estate isn't just location, location, location. It's location,
Oh, don't
location.
hold. Oh, yeah. So it's funny, Aaron. Yeah, thanks. You're good at this. I will meet with people because there are general rules in life and real estate and things, but everything it's not black and white like most things, like all the things we do. There's shades of gray. And so often, I see things different and I'll test people. I'll test sellers. I'll test agents. Just like you're like location, location. And everyone's like location. It's location, location, timing. Because location is key. That's the most important thing. But then it's timing from a couple standpoints, from buying or selling. And there's timing on a macro level and a micro level. So when you get location, location, say you're a buyer, location, location, timing, when you get that on a macro and a micro level, that's a home run. That is a grand slam in the bottom of the ninth at the World Series. And then, the timing when you watch properties. So the macro is, is it a good time to buy in general? But then every property is nuanced with motivations and things. And from the sales standpoint, same thing. You get the home run if it's location, and timing. Although it's also finding the right buyer for the properties that we sell are so unique and subjective value. What is a view worth? What is certain architecture worth? What is certain locations worth? Well, they're not set amounts. I deal with, I compete against other agents, and one of my biggest competitors, they're very much analytical and, counting the beans and the bricks and mortar and per square foot, and they'll spit it out. Here's what your house is worth. I've sold more of this real estate to anybody anywhere, and I've never told somebody what their house is worth. However, if you're selling a commodity in a subdivision, that's different. But typically with the things we do, because it's worth different amounts to different people. And it's not worth just what the market will bear. You need to add value as an agent. And adding value means understanding the property, really embracing it, getting engaging material, targeting, finding the right buyer, because the right buyer is the one that puts a premium on those subjective things. They're not just looking at the beans or the bricks and mortar. They're looking at, wow, look at that view. There's another Timism. I don't know if you're going to bring it up, or maybe I should bring it up now.
Bring it up.
The three I's.
Okay.
It's the three I's. Intrinsic value. That's natural value. You can't change. Mm-hmm. Carmel in general has intrinsic value, the lifestyle, everything. And then it gets better with views and things. And then the second one is irreplaceable asset. We're selling properties that are literally irreplaceable. I'm in one now that is so amazing. You can just see a little bit in the background, the cedar and stuff inside, called the glass house. The lighthouse is what it's called. Partially this part above ground and some below ground that you wouldn't know. So that's irreplaceable. You couldn't build this again. And then irresistible. And the irresistible, you can make properties irresistible, that they're fun. So those are the three things that combine to make a great property. And that's the timing and the buy and how you buy and whatnot.
Yeah. I assume so much of your, listing marketing is positioning homes to meet those three I's. But, let's be honest, not every property can do that. But what are some ways that you maybe can position a property as irresistible when maybe the average buyer wouldn't perceive it that way?
Well, it's interesting. That's how you prepare a property for sale, because you can make things nice. The other thing is the TA effect. And the TA effect is a lot of things. I think it's our duty to our clients to add as much value as we can. And that means preparing a property properly, which means getting the reports, understanding the reports, making the necessary repairs, or advising the clients on what to do. They ultimately make the decision. Now, if they don't want to make the repairs, you want to make sure you have estimates for that. So you understand the property, number one. Number two, you want it to show well. I mean, this house we bought didn't show as well as it could have. It's worth making that investment in it. Now, the sellers make the decision, so ultimately the agent doesn't always have control over that. But there's the way you advise them. And in other words, cleaning, staging, paint, carpet if it needs it. You don't want to become a spec builder because that's spec, but there are certain things that add value. And then you go through that list with your clients, and ultimately the best clients to have, I mean, they're all great, and we love to work with good people that are honest and fair, and that's all we do. But that are also fun, and that also take our advice. So, ideally they take your advice, and then we make these properties beautiful. And then you have to present them. And then once they're beautiful, you have to really get engaging content. And we invest heavily. I've invested millions of dollars into my marketing department. So I have the brokerage. The marketing is another part of my company, a separate department. And the combination of Coldwell Banker and their marketing and our partnership with Coldwell Banker, almost 30 years I've been partners with Coldwell Banker. And our marketing team is, I believe, the single best in the industry right now. I feel that. It's a bold statement, but but I've said it many times in front of a lot of agents at big conventions and things, because I do believe it. And I love it, but I keep investing. And when we're selling a house, and I don't care, sometimes these are $2 million houses, sometimes they're 20. A $2 million deal may be more important to that client than the 20 million. And often it is. And for us, they're both equally important. So you need to make the investment. I see agents that don't, and that just knock it out there and put up the minimum, and that's what you do. We constantly think it's important to invest and create great content to help these properties stand out. And then the photography, you want to get the right photographers. You want to be there, make sure to get the right shots, and then how you put it together. So creating engaging content on whatever type of property it is and make it compelling, and then understand they're all different. So who is your target for that? Who's the target audience, and then help your client achieve their goals.
Certainly. I'm excited to dive a bit deeper into your marketing, but let's take a quick step back for a second. As you've mentioned, you run a full service operation. You're not just a sales team. You do luxury rentals, management, you have your marketing, you do land development, all kind of under one umbrella. How did that model evolve, and what advantages do you think it has given you compared to like just a traditional agent or small team?
Huge advantages, and it developed organically. I don't know if you've seen our OI. You probably haven't. Billy will send it to you, but OI is what I've trademarked, and it's organic intelligence. So I've built my company over 40 years. I got my license, as I told you. I'm a double O, 00891159, a double O agent. There's not many of those out there anymore. But I built it over that time organically. And so, initially, I remember up to about 20, 25 years ago, I was a real estate agent. I'm not a real estate agent. And I've said this in front of audiences, and they're like, oh, wait. And I've said it to clients interviewing. Well, oh, wait, you're not an agent? I said, well, I'm a licensed agent, but I'm not a real estate agent. I was sitting at a table, and, people have scripts and they learn these dialogues and stuff. And I never had that, but I still was there giving my quote pitch. And I'm sitting there and I just blah, blah. And I had an out of body experience. I'm just looking down, just seeing this. And I said, I can't do this. I'd already sold 1,000 houses. I mean, I can't sell any more houses. I'm done selling houses. We help people. Our business helps them. It helps you build this relationship. You understand, you do what's right. You help them achieve their goals, and your business is really helping them because they're netting more when they sell the home and are getting better advice. So that I stopped being a real estate agent about 20 years ago. And then I began enhancing the marketing department. I actually hired full-time, and now I've grown that marketing department. So that's a separate entity that we have, all under the T umbrella. But during that time, one of the most fortunate things that I've done, and people think I'm really smart for it, but it's pretty simple, is I bought my first house in 1984. 40 years ago, 20,000 down. The owner carried $100,000. It was a nightmare mess. But I fixed it up. It was funny because we cut open a wall between the kitchen and the dining room, put a countertop in. This is back in the day. I thought I was a genius, open floor plan things. I remodeled the house like 20 years after that with a contractor, and found out it was a bearing wall. So luckily the house didn't collapse, but I started collecting properties 40 years ago. And now I've collected a significant portfolio. That's big because the portfolio we've collected, I've traded. I did some spec builds. I don't do flips. I do developments, and I've sold, and I did very well on that. But now I've tried to keep the best of the best and trade up. And I've done that to where I have a portfolio of about 14 properties that are, 3 are almost priceless, world-class, incredible places. And then the 11 are very, very special. So that is really fun. Like I was waiting for this, and I went downstairs in this house, and I was cleaning the wall. It's all cedar, and something's well, and I'm cleaning the wall. And for me, that was just cathartic. Kind of, I like doing that. I changed the light bulbs in here. What a difference. They had a bunch of light bulbs that are out. If you're going to sell a house, the light bulbs should all be, but that made a difference. And I see that, and I love it. So I love these properties. But so number one, that adds value because I get it. I understand these things. I know what value is. Many of them I bought. I never buy them, my listings early. I will buy my own listings, but after they've been on the market a long time, and mostly after I'm going to them, I'm saying, I go to clients, you guys, this is a great value. You should buy it. This is something I'd buy. And then the client doesn't buy it. And I said, I said that. Did I mean it? And then I bought it. I bought like 4 or 5 of my own listings, but at prices that other buyers wouldn't pay at the time. But I'm like, you guys. So I get it. And then the other thing is it adds tremendous credibility because the clientele that I work with, we're talking, people that are worth hundreds of millions and some billions. And then also people that are doctors, plumbers, nurses and things, whatnot. But with the higher end stuff, the portfolio I have is maybe more significant than most of their residential portfolios. So it adds credibility. And when I say this is a great piece of real estate, I mean, it's coming from someone that knows. And, I share these homes and we rent these homes and my clients stay in these homes and they're like, oh, that's your house? Well, yeah, it's one of my rentals. I say it's my rental, but they're very special. So it adds all those things. And then also for me, it's just such an outlet to be able to, like, in this house, we're getting it ready to market. It's by the beach and it's my beach house in the morning. My dog's here. I can take my shower and then I'll go to work, or here I'm going to work, not working because I'm having fun.
Awesome. Sounds like you're still getting your hands dirty, which I love to hear.
Oh, yeah.
How do you balance like delegation and personal involvement at this stage of your business?
I can handle a lot, more than most anybody I know. I rely on my team. Our team is different. Our chemistry and culture is off the charts. It's like the teams I played on, in college and high school and worked, growing up as a kid at La Playa. And, I bring people in that I identify with that have the same sort of mindset and character and work ethic and, entrepreneurial. I try and teach and mentor people just when I can because I'm moving very, very fast. So to be frank, I rely on my team to be entrepreneurial. And some people get it more than others. There's some people that I can say one word and that will accomplish more than another person that I talk half an hour, I have to explain everything to. So I try and bring people in that are entrepreneurial, that get it, and I kind of throw them in the deep end. And then they learn, how we work. And everyone on my team, every single one gets a piece of the revenue off the top. After we give away 5%, during COVID, early COVID, people were getting crushed. I was scared. We thought the world was going to go into a depression. Business just stopped. But then the phone started ringing and ringing. And we pulled together some deals with trades and different things that we got creative and we got some confidence and we started just crushing it. But then I looked around and these businesses, so many people were struggling. So we started carmelgives.org and it's a nonprofit. We take 5% off our gross commission incomes right off the top. Goes to that, and it's managed. 1.5% is the total cost of everything because we put all our time marketing everything in free, and Community Foundation of Monterey County manages it, and then we target audiences, and we've partnered with about 300 different entities. Boys and Girls Club is one of our big ones. Rancho Cielo. We love helping young and old people that really can't help themselves, but other things. Oakland Lacrosse, they do great work up there. And businesses in Carmel that were going to be shut down. We targeted them. We gave them grants. They got to make meals. We partnered them with nonprofits. So they're providing food for people that needed it. It was a great partnership. I jump off on these tangents, but we help people. And then, so my team then all gets a piece. So when we make a deal, even if you're not a lead agent on it, you're getting a piece of that. So we have so much coming at us now. We have so many leads every day, buyers and sellers. It's a matter of managing them. And when someone calls us and says, I want to see one of your listings, an agent, we don't say, let me get back to you. We say, yes. and then we make it happen. And even if you're not the lead agent, other people jump in on the team text and say, I'll be there. I'll be there. We got each other's back. We had one of our team members that had a very scary health deal, and we just had her back, and she was like, hey, look, I'm going to be a while. It's not really fair if I'm still doing this. We're like, wait a second, you're part of our family. So we take care of it. And we even went into the hospital and we did a ungawa. It's got the power. And, we did this team cheer, and it was great. So how do I delegate? How do I balance? I just manage, and I rely on other people, and I get these moments where I can do things at this house and then jump on the call here. And that's how I do it. But I rely on people. I have an infrastructure set up, and I have people in different places that are very good. At this point, I'm strengthening some of the management part of it, because I do need help with the management part.
Amazing. Wow. You just said so much great stuff. How cool. Sounds like an incredible culture that your team has. So congratulations on building that. I'm sure it's not an overnight thing. It takes years to build to where you are. So really incredible. Would love to hear about your marketing. Your super robust kind of in-house marketing operation that works hand in hand with Coldwell Banker and even partners like us at Luxury Presence.
Yeah.
What role does storytelling and high quality creative play in marketing luxury listings today?
I mean, for us, it's everything. We're not selling, again, bricks and mortar or houses really for what we do. Now that's part of our business, right? There's the families that but a lot of these high-end luxury places, you're really selling lifestyle, right? And these, on the high-end buyers, they don't buy from need, they buy on want. And it was interesting. I was on a panel in Vegas with Kamini and the several other top producers, Jade and Carrie and whatnot. And Kamini was moderating, and they're buying on want, right? And we sold that house in Pebble Beach on our marketing. That was actually the Santa Claus video where I said we expanded the market. Mm-hmm. So that was bringing a buyer in from another market. The house I'm in, I sold to a buyer that wasn't even looking to buy a property. But I was looking to expand our portfolio, because part of my plan going forward is take this portfolio and go 10x and then 100x. I don't have the funds to do that, and I don't want to leverage. So my plan is to partner with good people. So this came up, and I partnered with them. So that was creating a deal and a want, and he wanted to take some investment and put it in an asset class that's so safe, especially in this environment, and fun, and it can generate great long-term returns, not short-term returns. So the marketing and the engagement and having engaging content is critical for that, because you're telling stories. Working with Luxury Presence has been great for us, and our website has been powerful. The SEO we've created, which comes over time. It's our partnership. You work with my creative, which is Billy Schmidt, and Billy, grew up. He's a trained musician, concert pianist. He's a filmmaker, an editor. He's a free thinker. He's an artist. And so he is very creative on things we do. I've always been creative. I like to think I can't sing or draw, but I can dance. And especially when I get have a beer or two, but I feel the music going through me. So I'm a creative person. I like to push the envelope. And so we create engaging content that people enjoy, because people are just think how many emails you get and all this stuff. And you want to make sure that when someone opens up one of your communications, they pay attention. And like that was the house we sold in Pebble was the Santa Claus video, which was awesome. About, it was this really cool newscaster. Breaking news. Santa's leaving his sled to come to Pebble Beach to shred. Beautiful gal, Billy's wife, Rachel. And then it shows Santa driving a 1987 VW Synchro bus, white, with Rudolph next to him. Well, it's me in a Santa outfit with Brick, my dog, with Rudolph antlers. And it shows me getting up in the morning with my long johns, making hot chocolate, eating cookies for breakfast. And I'm not saying this is a 4-bedroom house, 16 or 12,000 square or whatever. I'm just walking by in the firelights and I'm looking at the view, and you're getting a feel for the space. And I end up going surfing, and it's just amazing. I actually had a stunt double for the surfing. It's the only time I've used a stunt double. But it's a lifestyle. And that's the video, by the way, that engaged that private equity guy that bought that house. So engaging content is key. And then when you do that, and it's always engaging and beautiful, people will not delete you or unsubscribe. And then your audience will grow. Now, I have a partnership. Again, we've grown the pie. Luxury Presence, Aaron, you guys are part of that. My marketing team, my team is part of that. Coldwell Banker is a huge part of that. Now, they're not doing those little things, but they do the big things. I mean, we're in the journal, Rob Report or whatever, probably twice a month at least. So our name is out there for everyone, mansion section and whatnot. So it's this partnership, and it's doing and classy. Like we redesigned our logo. It was interesting because we were working on it. This is a number of years ago, and we got all these pros in to tell us TA is a rock, this, that, and the other thing. And then we just came up with that simple TA, black and white, and it's just been wonderful. I mean, it's been engaging and people love it. And it represents quality and honesty and success and fiduciary and doing good work. So marketing is a massive part of what we do. But there's all kinds of marketing. I keep pushing people, and things are changing dramatically with AI and so much stuff. So it has to be real. Print. We've stayed in print. It's very expensive, but I can see print coming back. And your marketing has to be consistent and quality. And, a lot of people go these cycles and they slow down, or they let people go, and then they slow their marketing depending on the, how they're doing. But it's got to be consistent. It's got to be quality. It's got to be engaging, and you have to be at the forefront. I mean, we're doing TV commercials. I had commercials during the Super Bowl. No one else had them. Now, what was so cool about that too was, if you've watched these shows, it's the game is loud, and then the commercials come on, and all of a sudden it'd be quiet, and you'd hear this waves breaking, and you'd turn around because it's like a calmness. And I turn around, and there's this aerial coming down to Pebble Beach, and then just a simple TA, and it was like a 7-second spot, but it was like, whoa. Now, it didn't advertise one property or say this is for sale for 16 million or whatever it is, but it was engaging, and that's building brand awareness. This took me a long time to learn. People were telling me this years ago. What is that? Now I know the power of the brand, because the brand is taking us places now with partnerships with car companies and jet companies and coffee companies and all these things where we can grow the pie together. It's a massive part of what we do. Often when I meet people or they contact us, how'd you hear about us? Like locally, they go, well, you're everywhere. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Carmel, we are. And we have these signs that are just low key. So it's something that I've invested heavily in, and I continue to do so, and I will continue to grow that. On our team, I've got Billy, the full-time creative. I've got full-time graphic designer, another gal I brought on that's graphic design, that's a big thinker that can manage a lot of our marketing, and then another graphic designer we work with, and then our team. And then partnering with Coldwell Banker, it's very powerful.
Absolutely. You got a lot going on there. You've got to send me the Super Bowl commercial. I got to see that. That's so cool.
It's funny because people say Super Bowl. I mean, how much did that cost? And, I told them, I was like, this is $5 million, right? But do you imagine how many people I reached? And they're like, and I go, no. This is regional. It's not $5 million. If you target, you can do regional stuff. So we do the same thing. Okay, some specifics about marketing. We're cutting edge. Now people are copying us and doing TV ads, but they're not doing them like we do them. They're talking more. They're doing an ad. We're doing an experience, right? Just a calming experience. YouTube is a great tool that we're using. We think that's very powerful. So many people have gone to YouTube, and we have great content already. We have a library of content that, we could use, and then we're building new content. But you can geolocate your audiences. And so during a golf tournament in Pebble Beach, we have the only office in Pebble Beach. The people, we can geo-target people in Pebble Beach, and they go on their phone to do whatever. And YouTube is such a powerful tool, and so many people use it. Boom, they get a Tim Allen calming moment, and and then they walk by our lodge, our office at the lodge or something.
How cool. I love that so much. As a marketing nerd myself. You said things are going to change, especially with AI and everything else going on in the world right now. What changes do you think agents need to prepare most urgently for over the next 1 to 3 years?
Well, there are massive changes going on. I mean, it was interesting. I got to meet Robert Refkin about a couple of months ago. He was coming to his top 100 in Carmel. And so a good friend of mine, Mark McLaughlin, who is, I think, his chief operating officer or whatnot. Mark and I go way back to the college years, to the lacrosse days.
Wow.
And he was at Berkeley and I was at Santa Barbara. And I remember there was a big rivalry there. And I remember we played them. I hope Mark can see this podcast. We played them in the stadium at Santa Barbara. I think they actually won the game, but I played midi and I covered him, and I did a really good job. But we had these battles. But back then, even with lacrosse, it was a winner and a loser. But after the game, we shared a keg. And then we try and win the party and steal the girls too. But you had this camaraderie. So it was growing the pie because we were all in the same fraternity. Anyway, he was trying to get me together with Robert. Just, obviously it's kind of recruitment. So they tried to get us together at La Playa. And they said, well, where do you want to meet? And I said, well, let's meet at La Playa. And they said, well, there's going to be 200 Compass agents there. Well, you wouldn't want to do that. I said, yes, I would. That'd be fun. And so I show up at La Playa and I'm looking around and they're looking at me, in these back room, the sunset room. It's where I grew up that I was telling you. It's my backyard. I run into Robert and I was so fortunate that I walked him into the bar. I sat down and I was in the corner. I'd been there growing up my life and whatnot. And we talked for about an hour and it was an amazing time. We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about the industry, where it's going, private listings, what he's doing. We talked about his family, his life. It's hard, man. It's hard what he's doing. It's hard what we do. And especially for him, he's flew here and back in the same day. He's got kids and family. But it was a great meeting and getting to know him. And then a month later, I get this text: Compass buys Anywhere Real Estate. So Compass bought our parent company, and he is Compass, and he's the face of Compass, and he's the face of change now. Private listings. I mean, we may not need local boards. We may not need MLS, or who knows what need or want is or what's best. NAR could go away. We don't know. Anything could change, right? These models that have been set up in our business can change, just like all the other models that have changed with technology over time. So you have to look at it. One of the things that I wanted to instill in Robert was what's most important is, and he believes this, and agents, good agents obviously believe this, is our fiduciary duty to our clients and what's best for them. Are these private listings best for them? The argument is, oh, that's what they want. Well, I see it locally here where people are doing that, and they're doing it out of greed, not out of what's best for their client. And their client doesn't know it. So I think these are massive changes that are going to happen with all of these discussions. I mean, right now, I think Zillow is not showing Compass listings, if I'm not correct, because there's a lawsuit and they eliminated those. But look at Zillow. Look at what they've done. They're taking our work product that I've invested so heavily in, and then they're charging us for it. If we want to get an enhanced listing or this or that, or taking that customer and giving it to some agent that's not even qualified and charging that agent. So is Zillow a bigger threat than private listings? I mean, there's so much going on. So you're going to see these massive changes. And what I think, what I would advise agents is to watch it, keep an open mind, look where you are, but focus on fiduciary duty. do good work, period. Do good work. Like, when I was in Vegas, they say, what's your secret? What is it? Can you tell? Everyone's going to say, well, I can't tell you one secret. Well, there's one secret. Do good work. But doing good work means being a fiduciary, being available, being an expert, thinking outside the box, going the extra mile for the client. Sometimes we have to think back. I've got a great guy on my team, Dave Reese. He's just an amazing person. And he was a minister for many years. And we had a big run-in with another broker and all this. And it was terrible what this other broker especially was doing to Dave. But Dave had empathy. And, sometimes, we can, by having a team, you can vet within the team. But remember what other people are going through and have that empathy for them and understand that, hey, there's another perspective here. Now, some people just aren't good people, and that's different. So, my advice is keep your head down, do good work, but pay attention to technologies and how the hell AI is massive. It is massive, and it's already changed the industry, many industries. You look at the oracles of the world. The actionable AI is taking effect about now. It's showing results because it can streamline businesses and make them 5x, 10x more productive. I mean, that is insane. So, but what does it do for ours? Like right now, yes, okay, I can't make all these things I'm invited to. So you know what we did? We made a flat Tim, we call them. And it's a life-size picture of me, right? And they'll sometimes take me out, right? So it's a Tim going to the party, and it's kind of a joke. But, I got an email this morning from someone saying, we can help you engage people and vet your audiences and then bring you good stuff. I get these things about leads all the time, and I just erase them. But it wrote, hey, Tim, we noticed you were the top producer since 3 times at Coldwell Banker globally since 2021. That's a pretty big deal. And we understand, and it was thoughtful, and I actually read it. And then it says, we have tools that you can use to engage these people. And then I realized their tools are bots that are going to learn my tone of voice, my language, and engage people. And instantly, like, my first thought was, listen, we don't want bots. We are real, OI. And you always need OI, to organic intelligence, to embrace AI and technologies, to bring that wisdom to your clients and say, this is how we're going to use these technologies. But I was like, no, we never want bots talking for us. We won't have a choice, or we may go under, right? And I'm guessing that a couple of years down the road, people are going to be expecting to talk to bots. Now, they're going to want to get to you because everyone wants me, right? So part of one of my growth challenges was, how do I let my clients know that you don't really want me, you want us? And Liz or Dave or Mark, that is your guy or your gal, and they are incredible, and they're better than me at this, but I help them. So you have to embrace these technologies. Don't get bogged down in too much of that stuff, but embrace them, listen. But most of all, if you keep doing good work and doing the core things that we as agents are supposed to do, good things will follow. This is especially in a small market. I've lost so many deals that I could have gotten because I could have shaded advice to someone or gotten my client to buy it over someone else. But it wouldn't have been good for maybe the seller or someone else. But if you really do good work and you build a reputation that's impeccable, that's the most important thing you can do.
Fantastic advice. I love that all. And Flat Tim is hilarious. I got to ask, after 4 decades at the top of your field, what keeps you passionate and hungry to keep going at this point?
I just, like I say, I work more than anyone I know, but I love it. And then I've got, I'm growing. We have an aircraft with pilots, and I'm going, like Friday, I'm flying up and seeing a place in Morgan Hill that's quite unique, then going up and seeing an incredible place in Mendocino. And then I'm going to figure out how to stop back and spend time with my granddaughter in Mill Valley. We bought a place in Calistoga at Four Seasons that's amazing, and I'm doing business up there. And so I'm constantly pushing the envelope and growing the business. And the people I get to meet and work with and talk to, from this morning, the painter and his helpers here, to my partner Dave Morgan that came by to pick up some pots at this house we're giving away. I just enjoy that engagement. I love helping people. Our nonprofit's doing amazing work. And I'm one not to collect a bunch of stuff and then when you die, give it away. I like to make a difference now. But don't get me wrong, I like the good stuff too. Everyone wants a bigger plane. I flew to Nantucket Wednesday, flew back to San Francisco. I got in San Francisco to my place at the Fairmont there at 1 a.m. the next night. But I flew out on one of my friends and clients' plane that was this Falcon 900X. It's one of the nicest. It was so amazing, the experience, and then helped him with some properties. But pushing myself and doing these things and staying curious and engaged and the competition. I'd still be playing lacrosse if my body could hold up, right? So this is my form of getting that out. Plus, I have to tell you, I need stimulation. I crave it. I was at my son's wedding in North Carolina, and his Jenna's uncle is a psychologist, and he diagnosed me with adult ADD. And I need stimulation mentally, also physically. So work stimulates me mentally. It could hurt you physically. Bad stress is bad. I have a lot of good stress. Physically, I do the beach every morning. I run the dunes. I stay active. And then in the evenings, 5 o'clock, I just go nuts in the pool with my Tim Allen workout with music in my ears, just a hardcore plyometric dance workout at the end of the pool. That's the Tim Allen crazy dance workout or whatever. I need that cardio. So I need that. And staying physically and mentally really healthy is key. Having some fun, limiting the beer intake, eating healthy, all of those things, but eating great, all of those things drive me and fuel me.
Fantastic. All right, Tim, as we wrap up here, we have one final segment that we do at the end of our episodes. It's 5 rapid fire questions with 5 rapid fire answers. Are you ready?
No.
Well, we're doing it anyways.
Can you beep stuff out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So let's just start with the first one here. What's one Timism you wish every agent would adopt?
Grow the pie and be open-minded and help other people.
Amazing. What's the most memorable property you've ever sold?
I have a property I'm working on now that hasn't sold yet, but we're working on it. It's called Rancho Rico, and it is an iconic Big Sur piece of real estate. I'm fortunate that we own a piece that's one cove down, and it's a beach. It's this property is right next to the Post Ranch Inn in Big Sur. It's been in the family since the 1800s. Our property had been in the family since the 1800s. So we have a very similar property, and it's owned by a number of families, and a brother and 2 sisters are selling their 150 acres. And I just love it because I love Big Sur. It's got a road down to the beach that you could never build again. This was done in the 50s, I think. It shows these old 1950 Oldsmobile or something down on the beach. And, you'd go down to the beach. One of our client's sons built this rammed earth house and lives there, was born in a little cottage, a little cabin down on the beach. And, there's water, you're on a beach that no one can get to except if you're a boat. And you're still right in Big Sur. And that vibe of Big Sur is it's nature. It's beautiful. Although there's stuff going on because a lot of people come there, and there's division there with people, and there's all that stuff. But this piece of real estate is lovely. And then the property's lovely, but also the people. And it's a challenge because there's so many different family members and moving parts. But this is one of my favorite. And the buyers, obviously, for this type of property are, the 10-digit billionaire buyers, and the different types of buyers you work with, and touring it and showing it is, so that's very special. It's Rancho Rico. It's a plug for it, but it's true. Take a look at it. And our materials that we put together, I'm so proud of my team, are really cool.
Sounds incredible. We'll definitely check that out. Alrighty, next one. What's the biggest risk you've taken in your career?
Well, it's interesting. People say, like, when did you make it? I've taken big risks a lot because, and they're I'm talking not physical, but financial risks and risks. I remember when I bought a lot from my own client. I wrote in the MLS. I said, "Be careful if you show. This is the best lot in Carmel Valley. It's a long, narrow lot that runs to the river with open space, views of the Palisades. The lady is there in rock. The Indians used to go worship there. It's an amazing place." And we were living in a 2-bedroom house, kind of on a hill. And I was marketing this lot for my client, Doyle Moses. And I wrote, "This is the best lot in Carmel Valley." And then in the real estate comments, "Be careful if you show this lot, you might buy it yourself." Well, what happened? There's a picture of my wife down there pregnant on this meadow, and we had another baby. We couldn't be in that house. I bought that lot, but then I had to build this house that was 4,500 square feet. It was scary. I mean, where's the money? How am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And I remember staying up at night, just going, "How am I going to do this?" And then, then I bought another property, Seastone, which is one of Carmel's most iconic houses. And it was a big deal. And I kept pushing myself financially. And, luckily I worked out so hard, the endorphins go. So I've taken those risks. But then, you take risks. People shy away from potential meetings, or this is going to be that, or what's going to happen. Like these, I'm looking at partnerships with jet companies. I'm looking at meeting with people that are titans of industry, all of these things, expanding the market. People are afraid of failure. Failure happens, right? And you learn from it. But what I've found is, I want to take these risks. I don't want to fail. But if you don't try it, if you don't risk it, you never have a chance. It's lacrosse. If you don't take that shot or make the right pass, if you're not on the field when it counts, because you don't want to be responsible for dropping the ball, even though you've dropped it before, but you've also scored the winning goal. And you need to push the envelope, and I consistently do it. Now, I'm not going to take a risk now that will risk my family's future financially, but I will take big risks with other things financially. I'll invest. I mean, I just bought a house that this guy and I, the house that I'm in now, my partner who I love, I trusted him. He trusted me. He has not seen this house yet. This is almost $6 million. I'm a percentage partner. I put money into this thing. He controls it because he has a bigger share of this. We didn't have the full partnership agreement drafted before because it was a 10-day. The reason we were able to get this deal was a 10-day close. I put my trust. I took a risk, and I take risks all the time. I take risks with how I talk to people because I tell them the truth, and it's how you tell them. So those are risks I take all the time, and that's part of playing the game we play. And I don't treat it like a game, but you can treat everything. You look at that, and you have to take risks to be successful.
Certainly. What technology or trend do you think will most transform the agent business in the next 5 years?
It's hard to say. I mean, I would think the combination of how you communicate engaging material to buyers and how you engage them. The key, though, is there's so much out there, and what's going to happen with all the noise? There's so much noise. We all have to learn how to shut out the noise that brings in the negativity, that brings in the doubt, that also when you're here and you get something, like we're trying to target audiences, we want people to come to us. So I think the technologies, I think it's obviously digital online stuff that's engaging, and the platforms. And you're looking at, YouTube back in the day was a couple of guys that started and they posted a couple things. Now it's a whole channel, a medium out distribution channel. And there's other things that have come like that. So I think it's a combination of what AI can do, but I think the most important thing that people need going forward is OI, which is organic intelligence, trademarked by TA. But I do, because I think no matter what happens, you need to look, and you need to be able to understand how these technologies work. You need to be able to embrace them and take risks with them without diluting what you do. and you need to rely on other people. But those people have to have that same OI. We all have it. It's how you apply it and how much you have and whatnot.
And lastly, if you could give one piece of advice to a new agent trying to break into luxury real estate, what would it be?
It's hard. And you have to understand that the competition is fierce. I'm in a market that is tiny. There are very few transactions. There's like 1,400 agents competing for transactions, and we have massive market share. So it's not for everybody. And I'm not a Debbie Downer. I'm a positive person. It's hard to start by yourself. You can't do it alone. You have companies. Pick a company that supports you, that you get support with. Partner with people, and a great way to do is learn it. If you have the luxury of not having to have income, then that's great. I mean, when I first started, I lived on my mom's couch. I didn't have a lot of overhead, and I started to get deals, and then finally I got enough deals to where I could afford to live, and then you grow. But that took time. It takes time, and there are lots of different approaches to the business. I mean, the basics that I've told you about, do good work, those things. But we all have our own styles. I mean, obviously mine is unscripted, authentic, whatever. Some people are more bricks and mortar, and that does work in markets because I can't compete with someone like that, maybe in Sacramento where there's 1,000 town. That's a great market for certain people and strategies. And some people are nerds and some people are creative so embrace what you do, but be authentic. No matter what, always be a fiduciary. Keep your head down, do good work. But I do think it's important to learn. And if you can become part of a team, because I think the whole industry is changing where you have these super agents, but a culture and the people that you partner with should be like-minded and should be authentic and genuinely interested in working together to grow the pie.
Tim, you have such an incredible mind. We're so lucky to have gotten a piece of it this morning. This episode has been phenomenal, seriously. So thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you watching or listening from home, thank you. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time on the Luxury Presence Podcast.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.